ideas.
Amongst these three, Bannon, Dugin, and Olavo, you highlight Olavo as the one that not only studied traditionalism, but experienced it at first hand. You describe an impressive and quite awkward scene of Olavo taking part in a ceremony in the Tariqa of Schuon. What was the Tariqa of Schuon? Would you remind us of the scene and quote your sources?
So the early traditionalists broke in a number of splinters, but one of the patriarchs of traditionalism was a man named Fridtjof Schuon, very controversial, very dark, complicated man. And he ends up in Indiana in the United States, and he starts what essentially is a cult. It was officially a Sufi, a Muslim Tariqa. A Sufi school, but it blended lots of different elements, and at the center of it all was Schuon himself, like any good cult. And they had dances there. We have eyewitness accounts that are both preserved in the academic literature and in more free-form journalistic accounts of what the rituals were like in this cult in Indiana, and they included dances with scantily clad women. Oftentimes surrounding Schuon himself and framing all these dances were kind of meant to show that Schuon was the center of the universe and the unchanging essence of time, the thing that never changed. Lots of different partnerships, lots of intrigue and drama in this Tariqa, and a lot of money as well. And Olavo found himself there. He was brought there through some complicated means. He was trying to start a Tariqa in Sao Paulo, and wanted to do it within the structure, within the organization of this strange man Schuon. And while he was at this cult outside of Bloomington in Indiana, he found himself close to Schuon, but at first not able to access him. He saw the dances, he saw the figures, everyone dressed up around him. And then out of nowhere, he was simply summoned to Schuon, to this Sufi leader, and told that he was indeed to start a Tariqa in Sao Paulo, that he was going to be the Muqaddam, the leader of the Tariqa, and be Schuon's emissary to Brazil, more or less. And this happens, by the way, after a series of events that you can follow in letters that essentially show that Olavo converted to Islam and took the name Sidi Muhammad. At least he was addressed in this way by a man named Martin Lings, who is also a traditionalist Sufi Tariqa follower. So yes, Pedro, it's a crazy story. There's everything there. There's sex, money, intrigue, fighting, religious esotericism, and politics.
As usual, Olavo didn't. He used his favorite weapon against your book. He attacked. He said that you are a compulsive liar. What do you think bothered Olavo the most?
Everyone, it seems to me, in Brazil knows that he's eccentric and that he has radical ideas. I think it bothered him, especially the story that I just told you, and that seems to have bothered him to show the history with Schuon, to show the history with the Tariqa, and that he had these close ties to organized Islam seemed to really bother him. That's a strange mix with Bolsonaro, of course. But also, I say that while at the same time also being very confused by his reaction. I actually don't call Olavo names in the book. I try to take a very neutral tone. I didn't write it to attack or defame him, but sometimes the material just speaks for itself. And this showed a side of him that he did not want to have exposed to the rest of the world.